Okay. So I saw the loot room was getting a little bit of traction, so I wanted to show off kind of how the system works, or how this server thing I'm making works. So there is these crates, which you can't loot them right now because it's refreshing, but it'll take an armor stand with this, and it'll get the block below it with all the items in it. And then I mean, the name is different. So this command block here will take the item below it and set it right here. So it'll take the item that's placed underneath the armor stand, and it'll set that block to this directly, because with how it's set up for armor stands, it doesn't really allow it, from what I understand, to just get the armor stand by itself and set that as the block for the prison. So it sets one right here, and then it'll use this command block to add the armor stand with the prison SB on it, which is the spawn barrel for the name tag. It will go here, and underneath these barrels there's diamond blocks, but there's a whole bunch of these. So it'll spawn it above that, and it'll set the block to this. So it makes it kind of like random loot tables where you can go around and loot items. Yeah, makes it pretty fun to go around and check out stuff. The key system's fun. But yeah, also this made a system where you can recycle rotten flesh for resources and potentially loot items. So yeah, and after you've done all your looting, you can go to the vaults, which is one of my favorite like little things I figured out. I think the system's so dope. Uh, so like, oh, let's see, like let's say I have like a vault. I want to get another vault. Oh, I can't get one. But let's say I don't have a vault and I want to get one. So has many is the tag that checks if you have a mini already, which is like these mini vaults. And then let me check if I have a mini. Oh, I might be double basing. I do have a mini, I think. Oh, I do not. Okay. So I don't know why that's there. So it'll take like any one of these vaults. I'll press this button, and then it'll put me inside. I can press this command block to go out and take me back out. And then like, oh, I want to double dip. I want another vault. But I can't, because it'll give you the tag of has many. So it'll make sure that once you get your vault, you can't do it, and you can't teleport inside anybody else's, but you can get inside your own. Since your game mode to survival. And creative. And then if anybody like cheats or hacks on your server, you can just replace this button. And at the very end, it has the thing where it removes the button, so it's it. But the commands go, test for your tag with a radius of 3 if you have the mini tag, and if you don't, which with the exclamation point, it will give you a vault tag. And I know it's a little extensive on like a bunch of tags, but it's the system I have right now where it'll individually give someone a mini tag. I don't know if there's a max amount of tags you can have. I don't think so. I think there's a max on players, but mini 3 tag. And then it'll add the tag has mini 2 and then remove the button so it shows you can't get it anymore. But yeah, little starter vault gives you some keys. Speaking of the key system, just wanted to show this off real quick. Yeah, also VIP vaults. And then little command blocks under here, which give speed boost so you don't take forever to walk to your vault. Uh, okay. Okay. Train of thought is lost for a sec. I have gambling, and then I have like stacked gambling, where you can do gambling on top of each other. These right here are, you should be able to find them on like the Minecraft like Pocket Edition like DL website. It's just like floating text. I can put a link in the thing for anybody that wants to know, but it lets you. Their setup for their system is really nice. It gives you a name tag, which you can right click, and then you can edit your text or create new ones. And to edit it, you can just, if you don't know the name, you can just leave it blank, and I'll give you every single one of these, and then you can change its position, or you can click up here to remove it. It's a pretty nice system. You can color code it. Yeah. So gambling. Take this thing item in here. Drop, and this is what the loot tables were before. So it'll drop you all these items. These are also from that from a resource pack. I gave a link with the last comment, but I can relink it if anybody wants the link. It gives you a bunch of items that you can play with and mess with. You can craft these by default. So if you want to make this type of server setup, you have to limit what resources you give to players. Or if you want to make sure they can't craft any items, then you can blacklist the base materials or just make it so they can't get it from any drops. So yeah, pretty fun. Zombie bow. And then the stacked gambling. Oh yeah, the system I have real quick. I said I was going to explain how the crates work. I'm just showing off the system without showing it. So so how mine works, instead of putting an item in the chest and testing for it, it tests for name items, which is breakable if you have an anvil. So anvils aren't allowed. The kind of whole system is you get items, you upgrade those. Once they break, you have to get new stuff, so you can't hold on to things forever. So it'll test for the name, sunken key, and then that's how you break your commands. You kills the item, and then it'll spawn the chest with the armor stand having its name at this position. Also, make sure your chests are facing the right way if you do this, because if it's facing this way with the armor stand placing it, and then it spawns it right here, it will face it that way. So a little bit of stuff like that. And then the same system can be used for this over here, which is a corrupted forge, which you can re-roll your keys for to potentially get better keys. Only has for one key right now, but it's a pretty fun system. I enjoy it. You can gamba. Gamba's fun. But yeah. I like this like mod pack add-on, however you want to name it, for Java. I'm not adding more things to the game. Their apples and system for a lot of their weapons has like base like extra effects. Like if you get one of these like echo items on you and you hold it, it'll give you it doesn't show because I'm in here, but it's stacking. But once all the effects are removed, it gives you like damage. And then I think you have the quartz one potentially. Test. Yeah, you get speed, and I think it gives you like strength 5. So it's like a really broken sword. And then there's these axes. Like this isn't command blocks by itself. I'm just showing off how the entire thing works with the system. I know command subreddit, sue me. But right click, and it gives you protection and speed. Not protection and strength, not speed. I'm dumb. I don't know my own server. But yeah, there, there's this little area where you can redeem trail vouchers, which a lot of the system for redeeming items on how it's set up is set around the base thing where it will test for an item, and then after it gets like the item that it tested for, it will do stuff. These are pretty fun. For these, as when you drop it, it will say stuff in chat. So dropped, and then name has unlocked absorb trail, and then my trails are stacking. I might implement a system where you can move your own trails. I'll think on it, but like it's all in test right now. It's all being worked on. So it tests for the item with the name, and then with these, I didn't put an R at the end, so it's just naming it, but it's okay. So test for item, it kills item, adds trail. Remember to name your note, your command block's very useful. Add trail, and then it says at P has unlocked the trail. So you can do a lot of fun with slash say. Yeah, the main way these are just displaying trails is the same way you would put them on a player. It has command block, it's spawning at the position, plays with ticks. So yeah, that's it. And the final thing I wanted to show, which I always have, is the boss system. Go up here. I've grinded the chests. I'm looking to find an easier way to get keys. Get enough emeralds with the barrels, and you can get an emerald block. You can drop in front of here and spawn a warden. Not the actual warden that has like a bunch of stuff, but you can spawn this. It'll spawn the warden, warden's guard, warden's pet rat, and oh yeah, summon rat. This system took me quite a bit of time to figure out. It took some thinking, but whenever it starts and you spawn it for the block for testing for it, it will. Oh yeah, also little fact: if you spawn one of these and then you drop another emerald block, it'll make sure it tests for the item on the ground so it doesn't steal a second one. If you drop a stack, it will take the stack, but if you drop a single one, it won't. It'll only take one. So yeah, there is some like margin for error if you accidentally drop all your stuff. It's that is another problem with the system. I've looked into it. I'm not sure if I can just clear one item off an entity. If it's killing an entity, I don't think so. Because it's a drop thing on the ground, so yeah, it's own system. It tests if the block is clear over here, which is this redstone block, which is checking for if the boss is alive. And then I'll check if you have the item on the ground. So when there's nothing, it'll then do this check, which is the same way the keys work, where it tests for in the radius for the name of the item. If it has the item name and it works successfully, it'll go into the next block, all these being conditional. And then it will spawn the boss, which puts a redstone block over here. So after this runs, it clears the block, says the boss is spawned. So it summons a stray, like gives it the name and then at the position. So it spawns a bunch of named enemies. And like, why the names? Why do that? The originally the system was gonna work off of like check for named enemies, but I got a little lazy with my command block setup. So yep, spawns all the enemies, summon rat, and then sets the block behind this to air so it clears it, which is the refresh. And then the prison, which is this, says the warden has spawned, this needing to be named. So whenever it pops up in chat, it'll say this in brackets. Because if it doesn't have a name, it'll just, it won't, whatever this is named is whatever's in these brackets will produce. So it's useful for informing you. And then it'll do refresh, which sets a block here. And this is what the boss check is used for, which is how you get loot here for clearing the boss. So this is the same way that the kind of the crates work for the barrels, where they'll have armor stands here which will place it instead. Because instead of like cloning a block and taking it from one spot to another for just like a command, we want to get random loot drops. So we'll use the same system that we used for crates and have it place the chest below here with the 100,000 loot table room. Performance impacting. My goodness. Yeah, so it'll take these, it'll copy one of these blocks underneath here, and I'll set it right here. And then once it has this block's position for randomizing it, because you can't get it directly from below, from what I know at least, it'll set the block here, and then I'll take, because this refreshes every time with just a bunch of items. To show that, I will just here. Oh, Gordon has not been killed. Okay, basically this will just take a bunch of items. I wanted to show it in action. It's like when I couldn't loot this before, it was just refreshes the bunch of items. Don't know if I'm doing a great showcase. Taking a little bit. Might do a cut, might not. Checks. This is execute unless, which is checking if the warden boss is killed, which is a vindicator. Checking for the vindicator and the radius. So if there's no if the warden itself has been killed, like you can kill the other enemies, which is fine. Just you gotta kill the boss man. Check if he's dead, and then it'll clear the block below it, and then set the redstone block, which does the crate refresh at the position. So once the wardens have died, you get the very, very, very broken sword. It makes you need to make sure all wardens are dead. So kill the guy, and then loot refreshes. Warden has been killed. You can get keys. You can recycle them. System. So yeah, that's how my thing works. It's a whole system that's being made right now, but that's that. I don't. This might have went on for a little too long, but yeah. I used to do this stuff like back in 2020, and then this is my first project after like a long time, just working on stuff. So yeah, doing it all solo too. Lord help me. That's why the builds look so bad. I don't know how to build. Just know how to make commands. I need a builder for real. But so yeah, wish you guys the best of days. Oh, final thing actually, if you're still watching up to this point, like bless you, you're very kind, or you're just very interested in listening to me ramble. There's a system here. I feel like it can be very much broken, so it is like still a test, still getting people to play test. But you can re-roll for villagers here. So I'll set a command block here every time it detects that you've dropped it, and then it'll kill all the villagers, with this being at the base tick, and then this is 2 ticks off. So it will kill all the villagers and then clear the block here, and then this just summons villagers. So summons them below. So yeah, that would be all I have to showcase. I would have a lot more to look at if I could make decent designs, but I've just been working on setting up loot tables and trying to get more stuff set up. But yeah, I think for about maybe like a week's worth of after this is pretty decent. Yeah, let me know what you guys think.